You're listening to Exposure. It is XFM. I'm John Kennedy, and that is Arctic Monkeys with Red Right Hand, their version of the Nick Cave and Bad Seeds classic, now part of the single Cry and Lightning, which just came out last week, $2.99 from Oxfam, 7-inch single. And I'm very pleased to say that I have two of the band with me tonight, Matt Helders, Alex Turner. Welcome back to XFM. So it's good to see you again. The last time you were here was for the album playback of Favourite Worst Nightmare. Obviously, that was a few years ago now, even.
Yeah.
And it's good to have you back. And Red Right Hand, Nick Cave, I think, was that first aired in Australia when you did that?
That's right. That was that Australian tour. Yeah, that gave us the impetus to work out that cover.
And so was that this year, or was that the year before? That was this
just
year.
January.
Yeah, January this year.
Gone. Yeah, it was sort of during the recording, really. We'd already sort of done most of the album by then, but we'd booked it in. We like to play down there, and we'd not been for a bit, and it seemed like a healthy exercise to go out and play a little bit whilst we, not quite finished the album.
Yeah. And is Nick Cave a touchstone for this record, do you think?
Yeah, certainly.
The work
big
of Nick.
Fans, yeah.
Big fans. So you're back. Humbug is the new album. It's out this week, and you're here to talk us through it track by track.
I know, it'd be good for us to hear it, actually. If we haven't heard it for a while.
Recap.
Yeah. Humbug, it's out this week, man.
So you're going to talk us through the whole of the new album. When did you start actually thinking about doing an Arctic Monkeys album? And obviously, Alex, you got caught up in another project, The Last Shadow Puppets. Matt, you went into the clothing industry, if I'm right. So, did you set yourselves time when you'd think, right, let's regroup and start thinking about what we're going to do with the band?
That clothing thing was a front. I know what you were up to, really.
Yeah.
I like this proximity.
They both got to huddle round a microphone.
I don't know if we gave a particular date. I can't remember what it was like, what the process of starting again was. Because
I think, didn't you go to Norfolk to do some recording?
That was probably the start of the ball rolling. But, so we did like 2 weeks there, just over a year ago now, and did a couple of weeks getting new stuff together. Had a short recreational break to go to Latitude Festival as well while we were there, which was nice.
Lovely face painting.
Lovely, yeah, face paint and all of that. And then we carried on, and they became the demos and stuff that we worked towards.
Right. Okay. So you put down some demos there, and those were the demos that Josh Homme heard.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's what got him salivating.
Because I remember, when you came in to talk about Favourite Worst Nightmare, I remember you talking about Queens of the Stone Age then, and saying how much you liked that band.
Yeah, now look, even before, right when Jamie and I first started playing guitars, I mean, I have to say he got me into it, really. It's like, Jamie was into that in school, and, that's sort of what we'd listen to in his bedroom and stuff. And then now look at it.
Yeah, so and that's quite a kind of, well, it's not. I mean, we've had so much success already, but it's a leap, isn't it, to go from, school to working with one of your heroes, Josh.
I think in there, like in the studio, I think for that reason, there's always going to be some degree of showing off on our part a little bit, but I think that's healthy sometimes, really. Just like you want to get it right, and you're like
showing off. Do you mean to Josh or to?
You don't want to look stupid,
right? So
I think it's like it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's all about a lot of it's showing off, really, isn't it? I suppose.
So whose idea was it to work with Josh? And did that come from you, or did it come from anybody else? Would you have
probably? It was something we talked about, but didn't necessarily think it'd be something that happened. But then, and then like Lawrence from our label knew we'd been talking about it, and we'd met Josh a couple of times from playing with him, and
then Lawrence remembered the idea to us.
He did, yeah. He said, "Are you still interested in that Josh guy?" And we were all, yeah. So
we were all, who?
Yeah. And then we said, yeah, approach him, but play it cool. so yeah, and then he listened. He listened to the demos, and then he kind of said, oh yeah, let's do this. Go to the desert.
So you went to the desert. When did you go to the desert?
the first time I went, it's September.
September
Coming up
last
to a
year.
Coming up to
Right.
a year ago, which is
Yeah.
amazing, really.
You flew out to LA,
Yeah,
and then he
went
took
to LA,
you.
He took us in his big car, in a big car.
We were under the impression, we thought we were going for a Knickerbocker Glory. Like, we did, because we'd only really
Only read it.
spoken in print, and we'd only read, and we thought we were going for dessert somewhere. Like, as if the first 2 albums were like the starter and the main course, and he's like, I'll take you for dessert. I'll take you to the dessert.
So we get to LA with his bibs on
And
and an appetite.
all of a sudden, there's cacti.
He takes you out to the desert. What
Yeah.
was he going to do? Did you worry? You think this is a strange place
We
to
took
go.
the vibs off.
So I thought there weren't going to be ice cream out there, but yeah, the journey was nice. A lot of things to look at out of the window. A lot of things to listen to in the car. So
So was that a meeting of minds, that car journey?
that journey was
yeah.
great.
There,
It
and there
was
was sort of
Yeah.
there was plenty of traffic as well to
I wanted- yeah.
elongate that.
we had
journey.
we stopped at services.
Did we? Yeah,
We
yeah.
stopped at. I remember because it was called Baseline Avenue where we stopped, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd sort of had a drink and then carried on. But I thought, I liked the journey. I usually don't like long journeys, been in back of a car.
So it's
But
the best long journey I've ever had.
best long journey I've ever had. Yeah,
How long does it take to get from LA to Rancho de Luna?
Yeah, about 2.5 hours, I think. So it's not that long, really. But I remember going to Cornwall as a kid at Caravan, and it took about 12 hours. But,
Yeah.
so,
You can't do all about the traffic, can you?
but now, it depends on traffic.
Yeah.
But LA traffic, I mean, everyone will tell you.
God.
You've got to drive everywhere, and you can't drive anywhere because of them. But as soon as you're out of there, you're on these big motorways, and then you get to this bit where there's loads of wind turbines.
And one thing ends and another begins.
That's right. You can see it. There's like a wall of mountains that you go through, and then you're at there, Rancho de la Luna, and it's a small house.
So how big is this place? And did you stayed in a hotel nearby? Is that right?
Just at the bottom of the road, the Joshua Tree Motel.
The
And
legendary
High
hotel.
Desert
And the High
Motel
Desert Motel as well. Just across the road.
Over the 2 trips, we checked out all the
The available accommodation.
yeah, just because for these last couple of months we've been like Joshua Tree tourist
Yeah,
boards.
we did a
travelling around talking
we did a
about
Craig
it.
Doyle and just did like holiday program.
And so it's just somebody's house. It's
Dave
Josh's.
Catchin.
So the guy who is Josh's partner in Eagles of Death Metal.
That's his guitar in.
He
Oh.
plays guitar. No, not Jesse.
Right.
Oh,
He's
Jesse's
the
the
singer.
singer. Yeah.
But Dave is the guitar player with the Snowhawk.
As
Oh.
they call it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's his place. Nice little house. Kitted out as a studio.
And
There's equipment everywhere. It's great.
it sort of immediately suggested possibility.
So you started work straight away. Went in there, and then what did you do? Work on these songs that you'd recorded or worked on in Norfolk.
Yeah, we had the demos. Josh had been listening to them quite a bit, and he kind of had ideas for certain ones. So he'd be like, he'd like play them and say, "What about if we do this?" And yeah, we just kind of worked through them at first. Yeah.
And did you have any aims with this record? Had you thought through what you wanted to do with the album?
At that point, it was just an experiment, really. I think we approached it very much as that, and it just seemed to. It just worked out. Like the first session that we did, those couple of weeks, we did like 5 or 6 tunes, all of which I think kind of ended up on it, and bar a couple maybe, and that sort of provided the blueprint for the rest of it. Which before we went there, whilst we'd perhaps tried to hatch a plan, we were sort of struggling, and I'd written all these different tunes, and we just sort of needed someone to come and help us crack the code. And like,
Right. So I mean, would he
bring it
say,
all together.
"I like the sound of these ones. Let's go in with these"?
Yeah, it wasn't so much because all the sort of sound of our demos was the same. Because I guess it would just we'd put the same sounds up and we'd just play through these tunes. But it's just, I just think they just needed a bit more marriage. It needed an honeymoon. He was consummate.